How's it going, everybody? Nerds Rising here, and welcome back to the Nerd Cave. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a very spicy pick for the single type cup, and that is Zangoose. Now, Zangoose is a regional Pokemon. It is fairly uncommon. You don't see him too often, so it's not really a common pick really in any meta, but this thing is very, very fun to use. It is extremely glassy, and because of that, it hits extremely hard. So before we get into the battles here, I want to show you guys real quick the PVPoke rankings, excuse me, and sorry about my cat's demon eyes in the background, but she is very cute at least. But yeah, let's go over here to the PVPoke. We're gonna look at the Zangoose here, mainly just so I can show you guys just how glassy it is. This is actually the Open Great League. If you look, just for some comparison there, this is based on attack stat. It's 52nd in all of the Open Great League on attack stat, and it's sitting around Lucario and Sirfetch'd levels of attack, so hits very, very hard. In the single type cup, I think it's ranked even higher on attack. Yeah, we're sitting at 27th here. Again, right around Sirfetch'd levels. Bayonet is another one that it's really close to. And by the way, Krabby, who knew that Krabby had a super high attack stat? But anyway, you guys can see this thing is very, very attack weighted. So you guys are going to see some really, really fun booms. And again, as our shiny demon friend stares at us in the background. But yeah, we're going to get right into it here. The video is going to be a little bit shorter today. I definitely would not recommend this team, just FYI. I did have quite a bit of fun using it, but we're bringing the Gothitelle as well. Gothitelle does have access to Charm. So my thought process here was the Charm Gothitelle would draw out the Dark type, take care of it, and then the Hypnoka sweeping back. But the issue is, there's so many Cofagrigus out there that basically I just kept seeing Umbreon and Cofagrigus in the back over and over and over again. The Umbreon would come into the Gothitelle, and then even if I was able to take Switch and go down a shield from it, then the Zangoose without a shield is basically just dead because it's so glassy. So I think I may barely have squeaked by even, but I did not gain any elo whatsoever with the team. So use at your own risk, but let's get into the battles here. I've got some really fun ones for you guys. So getting into the first battle here, we have a Meganium lead. So Meganium is actually another really strong pick for this league. I did actually use that as well, and you're going to see that in another video. But the cool thing about this matchup is Meganiums are super bulky, so typically they're not going to be shielding the first move, but just wait until you see how much this neutral close combat does. That nearly one-shots, and we take Switch there, and unfortunately they do have a Sylveon, but we safe Switch there just because I recognized they had a neutral lead and they stayed in. I'm sure that Meganium is probably winning. It probably wins against Zangoose, but I was thinking that I might as well safe Switch out of there just in case they have something in the back that would beat my Psychic types in the back, and sure enough, they do have a Registeel. So by safe switching, I draw out the Regi, and they're not going to be able to farm me down very easily here. We've already gotten them well below half, so they're going to be forced to throw again. And they're on Flash Cannon as well, which is kind of wild. You don't see too many Flash Cannon Regis anymore, but because we saved the Zangoose, we're now going to be able to use it to take out this Registeel. I don't think Night Slash will quite KO. They do shield. I'm at the back-to-back. They're just now getting to their move. I really could use this to KO. This would be really nice if this would KO. Unfortunately, it just barely doesn't KO, but they do throw energy. And at this point, I'm up a shield, and I'm very happy just to let the Zangoose go down. Actually, I'm not up a shield, but I do have the Hypno still, and we are going to actually outpace the Sylveon here. Just because they're on Charm. Charm obviously is not going to be charging very fast, so we make the back-to-back punches, and that's going to be a GG in game one. So as you see, Zangoose in neutral situations can do pretty well just because it has very nice moveset, Shadow Claw, Close Combat, and then the nice bait move of Night Slash. So next battle here, we have Cofagrigus lead. Pretty neutral, but the opponent brings in an Umbreon here. And I believe, by the way, shout out to this person, Snorlaxin. I believe this is one of my subs. We had a really fun battle here. So since they bring in this Umbreon, unfortunately, we kind of have to stay in. We don't really want to see this on our backline, but they actually let the close combat go there, which is massive. So now I can actually bring in the Gothitelle here, tank this move, and then Charm all the way down. And now we're going to maintain alignment here, and we're going to be able to put that Zangoose back on the Cofagrigus. So unfortunately, they're probably going to bring back in the Cofagrigus, and they do bring it back in, and they're going to get a massive farm down here. I'm not going to quite make the Psychic, so I'm going to settle for a Rock Slide here. It doesn't really do that much damage, and unfortunately, this thing has, like, at least probably 1.5 Dark Pulses loaded. So I bring in the Zangoose, but he actually doesn't throw here, and this is massive, because now if he wants to use his energy, he's going to have to shield, and he doesn't shield, but that's because he's saving both shields for Zoroark and back. And Zoroark, I didn't show you guys this on the attack rankings here, but Zoroark is one of the highest attack-weighted Pokemon in this cup right now. I believe it's like top 5, maybe even. It's crazy high attack, but the opponent actually is going to throw energy here. He doesn't commit to the farm down. And by the way, those confusions got that thing nearly to half health. Those are double resisted, just as a reference for how glassy this is. But now we have to make the back-to-back Night Slashes, and we do get there. And I believe this was not a CMP tie. I believe he's just getting to the back-to-back now, and he is. He's at the first one, but this was a CMP tie. And despite the fact that we actually lose CMP here, we now are going to get our move off before he can click on a second one. And that's going to be a good game. So very close game there. Zoroark is a super spicy pick. So mad props to the opponent. But next game here, we have a Grimer lead. I believe this is a level 50 Grimer as well. Pretty cool pick. And it's on Mud Slap as well. So very cool spice by the opponent. So here, I know I can outpace. I'm going to stay in. We're going to get our Night Slash off. And then I'll probably dip out into the Gothitelle. I believe I do catch the Mud Bomb there on the Gothitelle. And I'm expecting that even though we're on Charm, they're probably going to switch out of here. And they do switch out, and we draw out a Cofagrigus. So not what I was trying to draw out, or I'm not sure if it's Cofagrigus, or I've heard people say Cofagrigus. I've heard Cofagrigus. I don't really know, guys. I'm not going to say Cofagrigus just because I don't think that I am cultured enough to say that. So I'm just going to say Cofagrigus. But we do draw that out. And they do throw energy and don't commit to the farm down, which is very nice for us. I'm going to get this Night Slash off here, and it looks like they're just going to let it go down. They bring back in that Grimer, and I believe here I decide to shield and then save that Night Slash for later. We still don't know what they have in back. Unfortunately, it probably is going to be something that beats Confusion, and it is a Mew. So really unfortunate. It makes sense. They're running the Poison type on the lead. They need an answer for Hypno. I do bluff. Do I bluff a Shadow Ball here? I don't know if I can't remember if I bluffed the Shadow Ball or not. I kind of figured they would have to shield anyway. And now I think my only play is to try. Oh my gosh, they're on Focus Blast. Mad respect to the opponent, but now I just have to make the back-to-back Night Slashes. I'm getting very low, but I'm very close. Can I make it? And I just barely get double resisted Shadow Claw down before I can make it. So really close battle there. Crazy BMing there by the opponent. Focus Blasting my Hypno. I wonder what their second charge move was. If they Focus Blasted me there. Not really sure. Maybe Psyshock? But yeah, anyway, good game to the opponent there. We have a Shadow Dragonair in the next battle, and I Night Slash right away, and the opponent does not react fast enough. We snipe with a Charm, but unfortunately, they have a Shadow Ninetales here in the back, so not what I was hoping to see. But at the very least, we do have Rock Slide here. They probably will farm me all the way down, but I will get a Rock Slide off here, and hopefully they just let this go, not realizing what we have, but they do shield it. And they're very healthy here, and they have a lot of energy. So I think at this point, I've got a shield advantage. I'm probably just going to bring in the Zangoose and fully sack it. And yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to sack the Zangoose, and we're giving 2 shields to our shiny Shadow Hypno, and we're going to see what Hypno can do. They're staying in as well, and they are going to throw here. I'm going to shield this up. I'm going to farm all the way down, and what is in the back that does not want to see this Hypno? We do get the farm down, and it's a Shadow Granbull. And Shadow Granbull, despite the fact that the punches are not the best move, Shadow Granbull definitely does not want to take these. We throw our Fire Punch just before we go down, and that's definitely going to be KOing. And very good game to the opponent. So, by the way, I'm not sure. I think that PVPoke is recommending like Fire Punch and Ice Punch on the Hypno, but I just wasn't really willing to do the Hypno Roulette. It's just so hard to get the moves you want, and I'm very low on TMs. But in this battle, we have a Snorlax lead. You guys may have seen my community post, but that nearly one-shots the Snorlax from full health. They try to call the bait, and then I catch their Body Slam onto the Gothitelle. That is absolutely crazy. Snorlax is a very bulky Pokemon, and that's a non-stab close combat. So crazy boom there. The opponent definitely did not see that coming. And we take out the Snorlax with a Charm, and they bring in a Slurpuff. We are going to get to the Rock Slide just before we go down, but this is not a direct response to a Psychic type. So if they're bringing a Charmer into my Psychic type, I'm expecting that my Hypno is going to have a lot of play here. So I believe, do I just bring in the Zangoose here? No, I'm actually going to bring in the Hypno, maybe recognizing that the Hypno with an energy lead is going to be huge for the endgame here. I can tank one move. Most of these are on Flamethrower and Energy Ball, and now I bring in the Zangoose to try to snipe, and they do have a Clefable in back. So they're running double Fairy, And again, here you're going to see just how hard the Zangoose hits. That's a non-stab close combat. That's resisted, and it nearly does half of Clefable's health. And they let me get to a Night Slash before they throw, and I think the opponent has closed their app. They've rage quit, and because of their rage quit, Niantic has blessed me with a Night Slash boost to farm down their lifeless Pokemon that are just standing there. By the way, I said this in the last video, if you're getting wrecked, guys, just top left. I do it all the time. Using this team, I probably top lefted 5 or 6 times while I was getting wrecked. If you know you're losing, just surrender. Don't make me farm down your team. That's just like the ultimate disrespect. So, next battle, we have a Registeel lead. This is with 2 shields. This is actually a pretty good matchup for us. And then they pivot out. They focus blast, they get my shield, and then they pivot into a Hypno. And I'm totally fine here with getting some chip damage onto this Hypno before I switch out. They let the first Night Slash go, and then they just straight up let the second one go, so I farm them all the way down, and then they bring in a Clefable. So their switch clock is not up, so I pivot into the Gothitelle here, and this is a Charm Clefable as well. Not really sure why you would run Charm. I think the Fairy Wind is definitely better on Clefable here, but this game is basically over. We were able to draw out their back Mon, basically, and now I can actually come in here with the Zangoose and CMP tie them to their move. We do have the Night Slash loaded, and they do throw energy. This is perfect. They're going to be forced to give up their last shield, and Shadow Hypno with a shield is really, really good in this meta, guys. I think that of all the Pokemon on this team, Shadow Hypno is probably one that you could actually invest in, because you can be running anything, basically, with its wide variety of coverage, and Fire Punch is still going to do some decent chip damage on this Reggie here, and we do get it below half, and what you're going to see is we can still tank one Zap Cannon fairly comfortably. The Shadow Hypno still has some decent bulk to it. We tank that, they realize they're going to get farmed down, and they surrender. So very good game there. Next battle, we have another Registeel lead. As you guys have seen, this is pretty decent for the Zangoose. We do outpace, and we can just match shields. And our Shadow Claws are chunking the Registeel, so we're going to go straight for the close combat. I tried to CMP them to the Zap Cannon. I don't think they threw. I think they do go for the extra there. They do go for the extra, and they are going to probably Zap Cannon me here, but Zangoose is just so glassy. A Zap Cannon probably would KO even without that defense drop, and they tried to catch the Focus Blast or the close combat there. Very nice, but they are again going to take some Night Slashes on the Hypno, and at this point, I think even if they're on Shadow Ball, they Gothitelle would probably live, but then they just surrender there, so clearly they were not running Shadow Ball. Yeah, they were down a shield, so they just kind of gave up there, I think. But next battle, we have a Shadow Donphan with Mud Slap. Very cool pick, and again, the opponent brings in a Clefable, and Clefable does not appreciate these resisted close combats. That does so much damage, gets them below half, and now I think Gothitelle can just come in here and soak all this damage. I'm thinking that I saw quite a few double Fairy lines. I think probably just to counter all the double fighters that are out there. There's so many Machamps and things like that out there. So actually just fully sack the Gothitelle there. I'm going to get some farm on my Zangoose, because Zangoose up energy can hit basically everything for heavy damage, at least neutral damage in this meta. Obviously, you guys saw even in resisted cases, like against the Fairies, that close combat just does so much damage. So I come in, I'm going to throw my Night Slash, they do shield, and I do bank that Night Slash, and now Shadow Hypno is going to be looking to close out this game with 2 shields. We are going to shield up this Body Slam here. What do they have in the back? And it's another Grand Bull in the back. And as you guys have seen, Grand Bull does not appreciate these punches. Even though this is a non-shadow, I think one more punch still will KO. We're going for the Thunder Punch this time. It does not matter. And we do take out the Grand Bull. The Donphan is very low, and we almost Confusion down as well, but we had that Night Slash banked. We're going to take it out. And a very good game to the opponent. So as you guys are seeing, the Zangoose Hypno Core is the spicy core you did not know you needed. And by the way, you do not need it. That was just a play on words. But next battle, we have a Perrserker lead. Perrserker is another very similar mon actually to the Zangoose. It has Shadow Claw, Foul Play, and Close Combat. And they bring in a Kanto Muck, and Shadow Confusion is just absolutely destroying this Kanto Muck. They do Acid Spray me, so pretty savage, but if they bring back in that Perrserker, those Fire Punches are going to chunk. So I think they actually bring in their third here. And of course, it's a Kofa. So I do bluff the Shadow Ball here just to try to get a shield. Here, I should definitely have just thrown the punch. I tried to commit to another one to get their last shield, but unfortunately, I do get farmed down since I was debuffed. But we can, at the very least, tank a Dark Pulse, but look at how much damage that does. That is absolutely insane. And at this point, This might be a little rough if they shield, so I'm going to full send it, calling that they're going to call the Night Slash there, and they get one-shotted by a close combat. And now I can aggressively bring in the Gothitelle here, get some nice charm damage off. I'm going to force them to throw here, and they do throw, and now Zangoose can come in and farm down. We have to win the farm down race, and we survive on like 2 HP. Very close battle there, but we do take out another fairly meta line with our Zangoose. So I believe we're already maybe into the last battle, guys. Like I said, this is going to be a little bit shorter today. I didn't win that many battles, so I don't have as many wins to show you guys. But this is probably going to be the very common Corebreaker lead, Vigoroth safe swap, and probably going to be a fighter in the back. I did see this team quite a few times, but here what you're going to see is Shadow Hypno here can actually tank 2 body slams, and we have double punch now. So if they want to take switch here, they're going to have to give me both shields, and it looks like they are going to shield once, so they're probably going to shield twice at this point. They do shield twice, and now I'm going to bring in the Gothitelle here and just basically sack it, because I know if there's a fighter in the back, it's probably going to be something that's glassy. Really, the only fighter that has any bulk in this meta is going to be the Hitmontop. So I'm just going to call that my Zangoose can one-shot whatever in back. So I bring it in, I get an energy head start, and it's a Shadow Machamp. And how much damage is this going to do? We one-shot the Shadow Machamp from nearly full health, and now, despite the fact that we're debuffed here, we can go for the Night Slash on CMP. We catch them in the CMP tie. They're not going to be able to overfarm here. Night Slash does a lot of damage, and now I get the boost for the road as well. I'm going to let this go, though, and we're going to let Charm Gothitelle close this out for us. Zangoose just put in so much work there, one-shotting something that's supposed to hard counter it. We charm down the Vigoroth, and that is going to be a G to the G. So that is it for today's video, guys. A little bit shorter. I do have a slightly more meta line. I'm not going to say it's meta, but I have a slightly better team coming up for you guys probably tomorrow. That team I did go 16-9 with, and I gained about 100 elo with it, so stay tuned for that. But in today's video, we were just showcasing some spicy Zangoose action with one of my favorite shiny shadows, the shiny Shadow Hypno, and then a kind of off-meta pick as well with the Gothitelle. I didn't see any of those either. I think it's definitely one that you can avoid building, but just some fun spice for you guys today. So, hope you enjoyed the video. If you are new to the channel, if you are not subscribed, please consider doing so, and give it a thumbs up as well while you're at it, because the more subscribers we can get, the more Pokemon my wife will let me play.